waste all my time waiting for a sign. I eat and smoke, I've no job, no friends. I never even have a call, and I throw my tears away in mine. Well, look at me now, but just look at me now. Can you see what's left of what I am? Giving up the way that led me here. Look at me now, but just look at me now. Now I think it's time for me to wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to face it. Get up, get up, get up. Give up my weakness. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to get up, get up, get up, get up. And I am just a lost man in this. Right where I don't belong. I cannot see, I cannot feel anything. I spent so much time to cry.
Ouvre les yeux et retrouve en toi de quoi t'animer, te réinventer. Loin des temps perdus, il est temps d'avancer, de cicatriser et de réaliser qu'on a tant de choses à vivre. N'abandonne pas.
Walking on the street and trying to figure it out.
Il reste encore du temps, tant de rêves à accomplir. Projette-toi.
Standing all alone, I am just so
Il
tired.
reste
Encore du temps. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to face it. Get up, get up, get up. Give up my weakness. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to get up, get up, get up, get up.
And I am just a lost man in this.
Right where I don't belong.
I cannot see, I cannot feel anything.
I spent so much time to cry. If I'm alive, why I'm in hell, I have to try. If I'm alive, what if I try?
Et je m'enfuis,
Start to shine.
et puis j'oublie.
Do I fly? What if I try? And I am just a lost man in this. Right where I don't belong. I cannot see, I cannot feel anything. I spent so much time to cry. I'm still alive. I'm still alive.
I had a damn good reason to leave without goodbye. I'm chasing down the headlights as I'm leaving you behind. So find another victim to keep you warm at night. 'Cause I won't be there waiting just to hear another line. And I don't care what went wrong. You had your chance. Now I'm gone. Stop holding on.
Thanks for listening to Spotify. No, really. You could have listened to the radio. You could have spun some vinyl. You could have played a cassette tape. You could have listened to an 8-track tape. If you knew what an 8-track tape looked like. But you listened to Spotify. Thanks for that. And you still have hundreds more playlists to enjoy.
Look at you, listening to Spotify while you do whatever it is you're doing. That's exactly why it makes sense to promote your business here. Yeah, your business. Whether you have 2 employees or 2,000, your voice can reach as broad or as narrow of an audience as you need, and connect with them where visual media can't. Try it today at adstudio.spotify.com or tap the banner to learn more.
Hello everyone and welcome to the final round of the Xbox Pro League Racing Clio Cup here at Oulton Park Internationl. Now coming into this race, we do have a bit of news concerning the championship. MRT Boris, the current second place runner in the championship, is coming in with a 2-point deduction and a qualifying ban due to an incident that he was caught up in last week. Unfortunately, we were not able to make that race in the booth, so we do not know what that incident was, but that could be something that hurts him coming into this event. As the standings currently go, you have FPR Crave leading the standings with 68 points. MRT Boris is coming in right behind him, currently at 63, but again remembering there will be a 2-point deduction for him. So as it currently stands, he is 7 points off of tying Crave and 8 from taking the championship. DOA Silty is coming in third with 47 points. Currently he is not going to be able to get that championship. However, he could look at possibly clawing second if he is lucky, but he could lose it and drop to fourth and be passed up by Smithies, who is only 7 points behind him if he is not careful. So with that, we are going to load into this race and get ready to take to the track for the final qualifying session in this series. And I am receiving word now, FPR Crave is a no-show for today. So as long as Boris is able to get a good finish, he will be able to take first in the standings. That's very unfortunate. I was hoping we could see a good battle here. And we are hopping on board here with Tidier Mosquito as he goes out for his first lap in qualifying. Out on his outlap, going to be trying to build up some heat into those tires and get a feel for the track, where the car can be pushed, where it can't. So we are going to have to see how he does when it comes to his flying lap. Hopping on board here with the roof cam, you can see a little bit of oversteer there. Those tires stone cold, but those back tires are not likely to warm up anytime soon, just due to the nature of how those front wheel drive cars handle. Taking it nice and easy there through the chicane. That could be a danger point for some people depending on how hard they try and go with the braking. Same thing with this chicane and the curbs. You can see there, Tidier Mosquito a little loose going into that chicane after hitting the first apex, just able to catch the car. That was a lucky save by him, but mistakes like that could cost him in the race. If we hop back to the standings real quick, we can see Tidier Mosquito currently sitting in 10th. However, he is not too far off, he is not too far off of RX F1, only 2 points behind. And RX F1 is tied with Roscoe, both of which have 18 points. So, Tidier Mosquito could see to jump a few positions if he can hold it strong in the race. Everyone now coming through to start their flying laps, their first ones. We can see 2 people still there in the pits. And one of them just made their exit. Let us see who that is. That is DOA Silty, our current 3rd place runner in this series, has hopped out of the pits for his first flying lap. Tidier Mosquito much better through that chicane this time, able to keep the car planted. That is going to be very important to remember to be consistent at in the race. Again, those slides through there and losing the back end is going to cost these drivers quite a bit of time on track and could ultimately be the difference between them managing to set a time and managing to get the position, and them falling back and either retaining or losing their current place in the standings going through this final round. Drivers are coming through to set their first times, and Tidier Mosquito sets provisional pole with a 1:51.8. However, who will be the first to best it? Let us hop on board here with Silty, who is coming up to the end of his first flying lap. No one yet able to best that 1:51.8. Oh, sorry, I believe Silty. Yeah, Silty was on his outlap, so he is not yet set for a validated time. We saw a little shake of his car there. Those are the kind of scares that can get into a driver's head. We have C5 coming in 3rd right now. 1:54, 2.7 seconds off of Mosquito's time. And Blade Runner in 2nd, a 1:52.5, only 0.7 off of Mosquito's time. So it does look like there is a bit of a jump from the first row to the second. The question is, how much will these drivers be able to better their times? They have to find that right balance of trying to push their car without losing control on a track that is very good at taking any sense of control away from the driver once you try and push just a little too hard. RXF1 comes in with an astonishing 2:11, 20 seconds off the pace of provisional pole position right now. You can see just how difficult this track can be for someone to try and drive. Coming through a 1:51.0, Mosquito bettering his previous time. However, Silty is coming through now to come around the final bend yet again to set his first time of the day. We will have to see if he is able to improve Mosquito's time at all. No, and a 1:56.5. It looks like Mosquito has shown up to fight, but then saying that Smithies with a 1:51.4, only 4/10 off of Tidier Mosquito's time. He could be looking to try and make some moves for pole position here. If he can find that last 4/10 and push just a little harder throughout this lap. Again, I cannot reiterate how difficult these cars can be to drive. You are working with a front-wheel drive car, a drivetrain that is already very susceptible to throttle lift oversteer just due to having all of its weight based over the front with little to none of it on its rear. Oh, and you can see someone there off track. I think that may have been... No, that was not Mosquito. Who was that? That was Blade Runner, I think. That was either Blade Runner or RX F1. I'm not sure which, but one of them. Very bad time through there. Got a little loose and went off onto the grass. But as I was saying, these are cars that are... This drivetrain is already prone to severe throttle lift oversteer. When you then combine that with, unlike touring cars, these Clios have little to no downforce components really helping them to keep glued to the track. So those issues you already have of the car wanting to get throttle lift oversteer is then accentuated by the speed you're pushing it with the little downforce that it even does have, which makes these cars extremely difficult to drive on the edge, because if you carry the speed you need to get a good time, it normally means your car is going to be sliding through most of the corners. And we missed it when he finished his lap, but Smithies now 0.03 of a second off of Tidier Mosquito's time. Tidier Mosquito a 50.633, and Smithies setting a 50.663. This is a close battle in qualifying between both of these drivers. I do not believe that we are going to see Smithies have the time to make another lap, but I could be wrong. We're watching Tidier Mosquito come up through what I believe is the final bend. Yes, it is. Coming back onto the start-finish straight. We are hopping on to his roof cam. Is he going to better his lap? No, he will not, and he is going to jump back to the pits. Smithies last 15 seconds. Is he going to make it to the line for another run? It is going to be tight, but I think he may just make it. Is this lap going to be an improvement? And it is by 0.2, a 150.419. That is going to give him pole position going into this race unless someone else can better that time. Silty unable to Blade Runner coming through not the final corner, sorry, just through the start of the lap, going through that first hairpin there. Oh, and that is going to be Blade Runner's lap finished with a spin there, going towards the chicane. And Gamer having a very interesting moment on that, looking like he loses control of the car a little bit or just gives up. I'm not sure which. But he is going to come through to finish his final lap. Oh, I do apologize for the yawning, guys. I am being taken back to round 2, where I could not stop yawning. And that should conclude our qualifying for this event. Oh, and it looks like a disconnect there for Maverick. That is unfortunate. Currently on pole is Smithies with Tidier Mosquito behind him. DOA Silty in third with Blade Runner in fourth. RXF1 in fifth with C5 coming in sixth. Behind him is Gamer in seventh with Spear in eighth and Boris coming in ninth at the back after his penalty. We are going to hop on board here with Boris to see how he fares on the start of this event. Sitting in the cockpit of the car, you can see the view that a lot of the drivers are seeing this race from. This is what the starting grid looks like when the race comes to, and we are hopping onto the roof cam now for the start of this race. Boris inching with the clutch there, trying to get any kind of little advantage that he can. Seems like a tame start so far. Boris almost going into the back of Gamer there. He is being very reserved, but we have someone off track ahead. They are going to hit the wall, and that is going to be RXF1 into the wall, spun down into ninth. You can see up ahead there. Oh, and another person is spinning. That is going to be Smithies, and after such a strong qualifying as well, C5, you could see him having some issues with his car there on the start of the race, sliding through some of the corners. Boris sitting back, playing it patient, waiting for an opportunity. Again, he got hit with a penalty due to an altercation that wound up happening in the last event. He does not want to get hit with something like that again. He has already taken a 2-point penalty and a qualifying ban due to that incident. You can see Boris still playing it slow, playing it patient, waiting for Gamer to give him an opportunity to get past without having to make a scene. We are going to hop. Oh, and it looks like he is going to pull to the inside. Could we see him make a dive? Yes, we do. Gamer leaves him the room, and that is Boris up into sixth. We're going to hop on aboard here with C5 and see what he is able to do, trying to attack Spear and find his way around him. We saw at round 3 what happened when Boris and C5 started battling. The question is, can C5 try and get past Spear and get away from Boris, or could we see him could we see Boris get into another altercation like we saw in that round, where both drivers wound up off the track at turn 1, and that is going to be Spear losing the back end, sliding into the grass. He is going to slot back on the track just ahead of Boris there. We have a three-way fight, it looks like, up here. Tidier Mosquito, Blade Runner, and Silty. Silty beginning to pull away from the pair. You can see Tidier Mosquito looking to try and take it to the outside. However, he manages to fall back and slot in behind Blade Runner. Not going to push and try and make any huge moves just yet. A very good decision. It is still early in this race. 16.5 minutes remaining of the 20. There is plenty of time for these drivers to make a move. Right now, the mental game is going to be what will win or lose this race for them. You can see, though, Silty beginning to pull away from both Mosquito and Blade Runner. How long before Mosquito is able to find his way past Blade Runner and try and chase down Silty? That is what I'm wondering. Because it seems that in a few laps, there may not be much hope for Silty or for Mosquito to make up the ground. He's losing to Silty. Hopping back on board, we can see Boris here. A strong run through turn 3 there. He is able to use that to get up past Spear, and he is going to continue chasing down C5. You can see just ahead on the track of C5, Tidier Mosquito and Blade Runner trying to chase down Silty. The field still fairly compact. We are now moving to a quarter of the way through this race. A very intense start, but things seem to be calming down now. Everyone knows this is the final round and no one is trying to make any unnecessary mistakes. Here we have RX F1 coming up to the back of Gamer Pudsey. We will hop back on board with our trackside cameras. How long will it take RX to get past him? You can see that little Clio not looking too good. He took a hard hit front first into the wall there at the start of this race. That really hampered what he is able to do with this. Cutting from the outside to the inside, but he's not going to make a dive. He thinks better of that and slots in behind Gamer. We can now see here Boris catching up to the back of C5. However, Spear, it seems like doing a fairly good job at keeping up with the MRT driver. Moving through the fast left-hand kink up to the right hairpin. When will we see Boris try to make a move on C5? You can see him picking up a little bit of distance to him every corner that they take. Boris keeping it nice and neat, going through that chicane, but it looks like C5 able to pull just a little gap to him. C5 defensive to the center of the track, but pulls out to the outside for the racing line. A little bit of a lockup going into that second chicane. And you can see him taking very defensive lines here, trying to do what he can to hold Boris off. But Boris continuing to suck up ever closer to him by each corner. Once again, you can see C5 going defensive on the exit. He goes out to the racing line. Boris is going to cut into the inside. And yes, Boris is going to go for another dive to the inside of the final corner. However, not the greatest exit, and C5 right there on him. C5 going offensive to the inside of the track for turn 1. However, that leaves him under attack by Spear, who is able to get a better run through that turn. We now see Boris beginning to pull away up ahead. It looks like Tidier Mosquito beginning to lose the back of Blade Runner just a little bit. Now about a second or so behind him. And you can see Silty beginning to level off there. He's not pulling as much as he was. We are just under halfway through this race as it currently stands. And the game seems to believe now that RX F1 was ahead of Silty. I am not sure what just went on there, but that was a very odd glitch with this. Anyways, hopping back on board, we are going to hop on down here with Smithies. You can see C5 was able to get back up ahead of Spear. However, Smithies is beginning to come up on both of them. Smithies was just able to take pole position. However, an unfortunate incident at the beginning of the race saw him barreling off the track, and that left him drop down to a very low position. He has been working at making that up, but he is starting to catch up to these drivers. He just needs to push a little harder to try and make up that last bit of distance to pull himself forward to be able to put out an attack on Spear and hopefully C5. You can see Spear there getting a much better run down towards the fast left-hand kink, able to get the position on C5. C5 extremely slow there. C5 is now closing in to being within attacking range of Smithies. The question is, how hard will Smithies try to get that position from him? You can see, and Spear drop back. C5 able to get the position, and then Smithies follows him through, cutting to the inside, going towards the second chicane. My guess would be either control lost or a slowdown warning. And we can see up there, Tidier Mosquito finally able to find his way past Blade Runner. Oh boy, and Blade Runner off the track there. It looks like he may have had a little trouble dropping all the way back and having gotten in the way of some of the other drivers. That could have ended much worse than it did. You can see Smithies now going for a move on C5, but Smithies going to get onto the grass, lose it, tap C5, then Spear is going to come through and slam into the back of Smithies. That is going to let Blade Runner through and push Smithies back. A very unfortunate incident there. We're going to hop on board now with Tidier Mosquito, who you can see is slowly beginning to close the gap up to Silty. However, Boris not far behind either of them. They're on the road. Hopping on board with Mosquito's roof cam, we can get a better look at the distance between them. You can see up there on the leaderboard just about 7/10 separating the two of them. However, it looks like Mosquito is getting some better runs out of these corners. You can see these drivers trying to push the cars, but still being very weary of hitting these curbs. Oh, and I only just now noticed C5 dropped all the way down to 7th. What has gone on with him? It seems like he had a massive off moment there for him to have dropped all the way down like that. Blade Runner now trying to chase down Smithies. Through the fast left-hander, you can see the sun going down, the lights on these cars beginning to come on. This is where the racing starts to get more intense. Tidier Mosquito and Silty still playing that same dance. Push and pull between the two of them. Silty pulling away from Mosquito and Mosquito pulling it back. Oh, but it looks like Mosquito there got a very good run, dropping the gap from a little over a second down to 6/7 away from DOA Silty. We can see down there Smithies and Spear now coming up to the back of Blade Runner. Boris still about 4.5 seconds down the road. Oh, Tiger Mosquito, a big mistake there. That is going to drop him back from Silty. A lockup and the car getting a little loose, trying to rotate around, going into the braking zone for the final turn. That is a very easy mistake to make with these cars when you start pushing your braking zone harder and harder. We can see Tidier Mosquito throwing on his headlights now. DOA Silty still driving in the dark there. DOA Silty, if he is able to win this race, will not take home the championship, but I do believe he will be able to take home second, because I believe that will give him enough points to be able to pass up FPR Crave in the standings. However, with Boris in third behind them, he will not have the points to pass him up. We're going to hop back on board here and watch what is going on here. Again, Smithies and Spear trying to chase down Blade Runner. You can see most of the cars in this race now leveling off. They aren't pushing for a battle. They are trying to settle in for what position they have. The spread is beginning to even out, and we are seeing less car-on-car battles. Spear pulling very close to the back of Blade Runner. It seems that he is still looking for one final position, looking to turn his top 5 into a top 4 here for the final round. Blade Runner very aggressive, or very defensive there to the inside of that left-hander. Spear is sticking to the standard racing line, but neither driver is going to gain. Spear was a little bit better going through that fast left-hander, but then loses it a little bit on the rear going into the hairpin. That is going to drop him back from Smithies, trying to break with a very aggressive cut across on the line from the inside to the outside. And Smithies will now get past Spear. Thanks to Spear getting a slowdown warning would be my guess. We are going to move back onto the trackside cameras here. Just about a minute and a half remaining. Tidier Mosquito still trying to chase down D.O.R. Silty. Or sorry, DOA Silty. Silty has everything to lose if he cannot bring this home in first. He has been very consistent so far this race. But ever since Mosquito was able to get past Smithies, he has been on a hard charge to make up time and try and get within an attacking position. With that said, though, this is going to be the final lap for these drivers. DOA Silty does not have much further he needs to make it. Let us come through and check something real quick. And we are coming up to the final corner right now. Tidier Mosquito has taken the lead of this race. Silty trying one final dive to the outside, but it is not enough. He will come home in third for this, or come home in second for this race, and unfortunately for him, that means he will remain in third for the championship standings as Tidier Mosquito wins the final round of the Xbox Pro League Racing Clio Cup. Boris coming through in third. That will give him first place, the championship win for the Xbox Pro League Racing Clio Cup. Our final driver here, Gamer, coming through. He is heading up towards the final corner. This was a hard-fought battle for these positions and for the series standings. Unfortunately, our previous leader, FPR Crave, was unable to make the event tonight. And due to that, we could not see one final battle between him and Boris. But there you go, guys. Your final results table for round 5. Tidier Mosquito coming home in first for the win, followed by DOA Silty to seal his third place finish in the championship standings, and MRT Boris in third to come through and win the Xbox Pro League Racing Clio Cup Championship. With that, I would love to thank all of the drivers that have come out and given their time to put on these races and drive this car as hard as they have. And I would love to thank the association for putting this race on. But with that, we are going to be ending, guys. I hope all of you have enjoyed this one. This is going to be the final race broadcast from the Clio Cup. But if you have enjoyed it, then stay tuned, because there will be more to come in the future. With that, I hope everyone has a great day.